Long has the great raven flown the shadow of my people. I, Ri'skyss, the eldest of my clan's hatch, walked among my kin, as we always have been since the stories spoke. Serfs, lessers, insects before the empire of elves that dominate Phalorn and her vibrant hushed forests. For what excess that can surely lift our clan to prosperity is poached by our overlords, a tribute of our dwindling crop in herbs that heal our tired bodies. Yet, neither of these sacrifices are worse than our clutch of young still in their eggs, a decadence coveted by the elven elite. The humiliation at the hands of the shogunate was perpetual. I've pondered on the teachings of the great raven and how these creatures exist in his realm for quite some time. Our people do not live a proud life, flightless beneath the sun that scarcely shines through the canopy. We toil always at our very survival. But what use was I? My wings held but barely a staff, my beak is dull and brittle, and my legs cannot carry the burdens of my kin, let alone my own. It was only in anguish of my powerless state that I found myself intrinsically obsessed with gems and trinkets and their creation. I mark each signet and every charm with the symbol of the great raven. Long have I spent my youth understanding this art, forging, meticulously carving, and setting high-quality objects that display even a spark of the great raven's majesty. Yet, no matter how much of my faith I placed into the single discipline I could confide in, that I believed could save me from my wretched and malformed body, I was granted no affirmation from my god. Clearly, I had not earned the favor of his cryptic domain. My work must continue. It was not until I was a man that I knew power, the gift of the god I covet. The day I came upon the trinket, I was mesmerized by its craftsmanship. Pure white stone, glazed and marbled by foreign craft, its runic symbol was marked by the Fey language, its inscription humming with light and a peculiar perception my body had never felt before. I knew not how it came to my village, nor how my clan allowed this relic to stay, but its masters came for it in the largest force of elves I or any other of my clan would ever see. Unknowingly, we had desecrated their artifacts. As death fell over my home, I ran as swiftly as I could. It was less than often I ventured from the safety of my den, but my options were rather limited. It was not long before I was out of breath, exhausted and panicked for my life. In the few moments I had alone, I contemplated the great raven and how I have failed his great order. To survive in his realm at at all expenditure. I could barely raise a weapon or rely on my own ingrown claws. Yet, in this contemplation, a voice whispered its shadowy song, as if I could hear that which I could previously not. I clutched the trinket that fell around my neck, awoken to a new, innate sense that felt just as natural as sight or taste. The whisper came in a language I did not know, yet understood its beastly tongue. I imagined its form, and it so graciously appeared before me. A creature of shadow bathed in night, blackened wings that spanned far beyond any creature I had read of. It was as though the great raven was summoned by my very thoughts, its gleaming green eyes, a sturdy and lithe form that stood upright and dignified. It was as though it was everything I was not. I knew my people were slaughtered, and that I was soon to join them. By the time I had left my transcendent vision of this creature, several elves had caught up to me. I wanted to beg for my life, but I was far too petrified to muster even that. Yet, neither I or the elves were given a chance to understand our fates. The swarm, the myriad swarm of ravens, cried out as the sun was lost in the overcast of their wings. I dared not look for more than a moment as my assailants were devoured down to their bones. The screams of their allies called for mercy, yet the wild swarm showed them none. It was not until the corpses were picked clean that I was surrounded by these creatures, all fixated on me with the same green stare of the entity that spoke to me. I could not speak back at the terrible wonder. My words did not form, and my body could not move of its own will, until I heard it speak once again from hundreds of raven beaks. It told me, I am pleased, and nothing more. It was not until much later that I learned I had a power over these same beings. Where once I was powerless, the great raven had sent his children to watch over me. Though I have traveled beyond the Faelorn and the ruins of my clan, I do as the great raven commands of all his servants. One day I will return to the forests once more to deliver upon his enemies, the shadowy swarm. Yet until that time comes, I will spend much of my existence perfecting the art that has earned me this blessing.